Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Develop Epic Readers in Your Classroom, where we are going over the website and app called Epic. My name is Sky Blue, and I teach second grade at Williams Elementary. This is my fifth year teaching, and I have previously taught first and fourth grades. This is my first year as an I3 member, and this is my first webinar, so bear with me as we make this journey together. Joining me today as our chat moderator is Carrie Ann Rapp. She is the IST at Abbott Elementary, and as today's chat moderator, she is there to answer any questions you may have. We may have a few minutes at the end of the webinar for any questions that were unanswered through the session, and I will have time to address them. Please make sure you stay tuned through the end, where Carrie Ann will put a link to the survey so you can get credit for today's webinar. Going over some of the technology I have in my classroom and how I use it is in my classroom. I have my teacher computer and my teacher iPad, as well as 4 student computers, and I have access to 6 student iPads. Our school also has a school-wide computer lab that my students can access. The beautiful thing about Epic is Epic both works online as a website as well as an app for both Apple and Android operating systems. And so depending on whatever you have in your classroom, Epic should work for it. In this webinar, I will be going over the uses I have for Epic in my classroom, as well as some ideas of how you can use it in yours to adapt to your grade level. I will be walking you through how to sign up for the website, set up your classroom, and create collections and quizzes. Please remember to stay until the end, again, for that survey link to appear in the chat bar so you can get credit for the webinar. If you have not heard of Epic, it is a website with a compatible app that is free for teachers to set up individual profiles for students in their classroom. This website contains over 20,000 books of various levels and subjects. Students are able to choose from picture books that will read to them, books that they can read by themselves, as well as audiobooks that they can listen to as there are no words or pictures for them to follow along. There are short books for younger grades and lower reading levels, as well as longer chapter books. There are also fiction and nonfiction selections, as well as videos. Students are able to have their own personal account where they are able to select their own books that they like. They are able to level up as they read and earn badges and rewards, where they can choose and edit and personalize their account and their avatars. I have found this resource to be extremely high interest for my students as they get excited and motivated to read as they level up. As a teacher, I am able to monitor student usage through a dashboard where I can see the number of hours my students have spent reading, as well as the number of books they have finished. I'll also be showing you how you can actually also see how long each student took on each book and the awards they're getting as they're getting them. This webinar is designed to give you a general overview of how to set up your account on Epic. Epic also has their own resources. If you have any questions that I was not able to answer, they have a resource page that I will point you to. And so I will help you set up your classroom, as well as showing you how to browse, create collections, create quizzes for the stories, as well as giving you some ideas to implement the Epic in your classroom. This webinar aligns with the integration of digital skills into instruction and is supported by the ISTE teacher standard as a designer of learner-driven activities and environments that recognize and accommodate learner differences and needs. The use of Epic allows teachers to adapt and personalize the learning experiences for students to foster independent learning. This webinar also supports the ISTE student standard of the empowered learner. This website empowers students to customize their learning environment through the selection of reading material that is relevant to them, their personal learning process. This app allows students to control their own differentiation, as there are many levels of books for students to select from. I have placed a link in the chat bar if you want to follow that. You can find that, or you can go to www.getepic.com, or just a simple Google search of EPIC, EPIC, should give you the website as the first result. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so I can walk you through what we are doing. Okay, following that website, it will take you to this EPIC homepage. The first page that pops up is EPIC for Parents. EPIC is free for teachers. However, they charge parents a monthly fee. And so they do that in order to keep it free for educators. And so don't sign up on this page where it says join free for 30 days. It will ask you for a credit card. And so looking at the top menu bar, you see that parents is highlighted. Go ahead and click on educators. And as you are on this educators page, you can take a little bit of time to look at some of the different resources they have. Here you will see there's a button to sign up for free, but if you take a second, you can look that they have some examples of books that they have. You cannot open them and read them, but you can look for examples of what they have. They have books that are pretty popular for students. As you can see, I see like the one and only Ivan on the screen, and I know my students in the past have read that book. They have it broken down into age groups. Like I said, that there are audiobooks, and audiobooks will be purple, and they just read to you. There's no words or pictures for students to follow along. They have nonfiction selections, and for those of you who teach bilingual, they also have Spanish books. Not as many as they do in English, but they have access to Spanish books, and I believe they're actually working on adding some books in Chinese as well as French. They also have access to educational videos. I know they have some vocabulary videos as well as the SciShow Kids. I use that a lot in my classroom for science instruction. And then down here, you will see where the educator resources are. You can also access them once you make an account. All right, going up to the top, go ahead and click sign up for free. It will take you to this page where there's just a little bit more information about EPIC for educators. Go ahead and scroll down to the bottom and click Get Started. And you can either sign in with Google Classroom if you are, if that's what you use. If you do not, down here it asks you to tell a little bit about the school and then tell about yourself. When it asks you to enter your email address, make sure it is your garlandisd.net school address. They will not email it to you. They will not send you an email to verify it. You'll be able to sign up immediately, but it does need to be an educator verified email address. When it comes to creating a password, make sure you create a password that is easy for you to remember, but hard for students to guess. You'll see in a moment, but you have a profile that will be displayed with your student profiles. And your students can click on it, but they have to enter your password to enter to your profile. And that's where you can edit student information. So while you are signing up, I will talk about the app that goes along with the website. There's not much of a difference. I will also go ahead and sign in myself. Let me go. The app itself really doesn't look that much different from the website. As you log on to the app, you will have to log on. Students or student profiles will be displayed, and students will be able to see their bubble. There's a little circle. You can probably see on my screen that you can see my students' profiles. You see my profile here. As you join, you will have just your profile and a guest profile. And so students are able to click on their profile and edit. As you can see, some of my students have already been able to change their avatar and go ahead and customize their account. I will go ahead and click on my name. And like it said, you will have to re-enter your password. This prevents students from logging into your account and changing information. All right, as you log in, you will either be brought to the browse page or your dashboard. Okay, for the purpose of what we are starting with, I want you to go ahead and click on the dashboard. If you have like a half screen, you probably won't see these icons that you see on mine. There will just be these 3 horizontal lines with the word more underneath there. If you click on that, you will be able to see where it says dashboard. So when you click on dashboard, this is where you're going to get most of your information. As you can see from mine, since I have students in the program who have been reading, you can see that I have 24 profiles, which are my 22 students in my classroom, as well as 2 guest profiles that I have just in case for parent-teacher conferences, siblings come, I let them read. Total, my students have read 226 books this year, 160.8 hours, and we have watched 6 videos. Down here, you will be able to see your students' profiles, where you can see individually, the student has finished 2 books and has only read for about a third of an hour, whereas this student has read and finished 35 books and has read for about 1.1 hours. If I look at activity right here, I'm able to see a little closer look. So for example, this student has been reading Unexplained Mysteries Ghost. She is 18% of the way through, and she's only been reading for 1 minute and has flipped 16 pages. So as I am monitoring my students, I can look here and see that, this student is 25% of the way through the book in 11 seconds and has flipped 3 pages. That might be, me talking to that student because they could have been testing the book to see if it was their level, or they're just trying to finish as many as they can. And so that's when I would pull that student for aside and have a conversation with them about making sure that we are actually just reading a book, which Epic actually kind of times how they read. And if they're flipping through too fast, it won't let them finish a book. And I'll show that to you later. You're able to look at any quizzes and assignments you have assigned. But right now, I'm going to click back to profiles and show you how to set up a student profile. So if you see down here, oops, scroll down too much. So if you see down here, there's a plus sign and it says create profile. When you click on that, it asks for a student's first name, last name, as well as a PIN number. The PIN number is optional. Unfortunately, it limits it to a 4-digit number because yes, it would be so nice if it was 6 digits and you could just make it their ID number. But it's a 4-digit number. The PIN there is so you can keep the student's account secure. This keeps these students, other students from clicking on their account and messing with it and stuff like that. So it's a 4-digit number. A suggestion I have is I usually use their birthday. So for example, my birthday is November 26th. So if I was creating an account for me, so my first name is Sky, my last name is Blue, and I would make my PIN number 1126. This enable home access, you are able to email parents that you have set up an account for their child. However, like I said, it is not free for parents. So some of them might be turned off from that. But then again, I know we all have different populations. Mine's very Title I, and so most of my students are low socioeconomic, and so parents just don't have the money to pay. I usually don't email it though, because if you go to the resources up here, there is a parent letter you can print out and send home. So I usually print out the letter and send it home. And if parents express interest, then I'll go on and I'll edit this later. And so you just enter the student's first name, the student's last name. And if you want to do a PIN number, you just have to make it a number that students will remember. And you have to be able to make a list to check on it later. When you have entered your information, there's also the option here to import from Google Classroom if that's what you use. So you can do it through there. So once you have entered your student information, go ahead and click Create Profile. And it is now created. So if you look, there will be a little pop-up here. And if we scroll down, names are alphabetical by first name. I will probably be at the bottom because I'm Sky. So there is Sky B. So that is how you create student profile. You can put, I haven't seen any limit to it. Last year I was departmentalized and had a total of 37 students. And I was able to create 37 profiles. So even if you're departmentalized, you can still create enough profiles for each of your students. Now I will walk you through how to browse books as well as the search feature. So let's go ahead and start with browse. Up here at browse, when you click on that, the browse feature is where you and students will find suggested books based on your interest in reading history. You may change what you are viewing by going here where it says recommended. You may select learning videos, just collections, popular books, books that will read to you, audiobooks, books with quizzes, and new books, as well as specific categories. Scrolling down here, this is usually just featured collections, which are either books or videos, books that are recommended, as well as some learning videos. If it is green, it says read to me, that means that it will read along with students as they flip through. If it's purple and says audiobook, that means there are no pictures and there are no words. A good idea to incorporate these audiobooks into your classroom is, if students are interested in audiobooks, they can see if they can find the physical book in their library, and then they're able to listen to the audiobook on Epic as well as follow along. You know, it's the Read to Me and the audiobook selections are really good for Garland ISD's new balanced literacy initiative. This works really well as either the Read to Self station, where students are able to pick books they want to read, as well as the Listen to Reading station, because students are either able to select an audiobook or a Read to Me book. Now let's go ahead and look, and I will show you how to some of the search features. If you look at the search features, you're able to type into the box here, and then there is advanced search options. As a second grade teacher in our social studies unit, we are about to celebrate individualism, and we are about to learn about Amelia Earhart. So just for an example, I will go ahead and search Amelia Earhart. Okay, and I will click on advanced search options. When you look at the advanced search options, you're able to filter by reader age, Lexile measure, as well as AR level. You can select a reader age, which is 0 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10, 11 to 12, and you're able to select fiction or nonfiction books. So looking here, these are just what pulled up. I see that there is a National Geographic, and I see there's a little green bar at it. That means that they will, it will read to them. And so I'm going to go ahead and click on that. There's no AR information or level information, but looking at the age range, we should be able to, my second graders should be able to do it. I've already kind of previewed this book, so if you can see, this is where I left off. Going back to the beginning, you will see a little information. It's got a table of contents. This is a Read to Me book, so I can play the book from here. And then I can choose how they highlight the words. So if I go to this page and I have it read, I like to use the underline. And so as it is reading, it will underline the books.
Who was Amelia Earhart?
So as you can see, it underlined as it was reading. You might see that the words are magnifying as I'm pulling over them. One really cool new feature that they just added is the ability to click on the words.
Travel.
And a pronunciation, as well as a definition pops up. So I think this is a really cool feature, especially for your English language learners. So now let me show you how to add this book to a collection. So if you look in the top left-hand corner, you're able to add to. So when you click on that, this little box will pop up and you're able to create a new collection. So I'm going to title my collection Celebrating Individuals. And it's part of my social studies unit involving Earhart. I can I have the option of sharing this with the Epic community. I'm going to go ahead and choose not to do that, and so just my students will be able to see it. And so I will hit create, and the book is now added to a collection. Let's say I want to make a quiz for this story. If you look right next to add to, it says quiz. And it says click here to create a new quiz for this book. When you click on that, after I have previewed the story, I'm able to make a quiz. And so let's say Amelia Earhart, then I'm going to add a question. As you can see, I can type a question. I type my correct answer here, and then I can give one correct, one incorrect answer, or up to 4. When the students take the test, they are able to, um, the questions will be mixed up. So going on this, let's say I do, when I was reading, I saw that Amelia Earhart was a nurse. So let's say I do a true or false question. Or worked as a nurse. And let's say I just do true or false. That is true. That is false. And don't think I give my students these easy questions. I'm just coming up with one. Then I click done, and I'm able to add more questions. And I'm also able to share this quiz with the EPIC community. So we're kind of running out of time here. So real quick, I'm going to show you what happens when students go through the test too quick or go through the book too quick. So let's say, oh, I'm just sitting here and I want to finish the book and level up. So I'm just clicking and I'm not reading. Oh, look, pretty pictures. Oh, 6 fun facts. But I'm not reading the words. Well, when I get to the end, it says finish book. If I haven't spent enough time on the book, it will not let me click finish the book. But I have read this before, so it will let me. So when I click on it, you can see students are able to level up, and they get really excited when they're able to do that. And you're also able to level up as a teacher. When you are finished with the book, oh, they also have suggestions down here. When you finish with the book, you may click the X, and then you may select a new book. If you want to assign to your students, assign a collection to your students, you go to My Library. So with this being a collection that I'm going to use as part of my social studies instruction, I will share it with my whole class, but let's say I pull together some books from I know my low level readers will be able to read, and then I pulled together a collection of books I know my grade level students will be able to read, and I pulled together a collection of books that my higher students are going to be able to read. You're able to click assign, able to assign it to specific students. So let's say this book in particular, it's a read to me book, so I will select just students that I know need to be read to on this level. And so I'll select them, and then I'll assign it to them. And so they are now assigned this. They have access to the book as part of their, they'll be able to access it in the mailbox. So it's just, there's a lot of uses for EPIC, so much it's kind of hard to go through in 30 minutes. Real quick, I'll show you what students see by logging in as myself. So students will select their profile, and if they have a PIN number, they have to enter it. And so then it will ask you how old you are. As a second grader, I just turned 8. I'm able to pick books that I like. So let's say I just like adventure and funny books. But if you scroll through, you can see that there are now Spanish books, Chinese books, and French books. And so to show your students how they can access books you have assigned to them, they click on mailbox and it will be there. I haven't shared anything with little second grade Sky Blue yet. There's nothing there, but your students will be able to see. So, some of the implications for this is you can go ahead and go in and pre-select books for your students that you know that they can read. And you just, inform them that during read to me or during read to self, they have to pick a book that, is on their level. During listen to reading, they have to pick a book that's on their level but will read to them. It's also really good for free time. Students you can incorporate it cross curricular. They have math books, they have math videos, as well as science books and science videos. So there's a lot of stuff to play with. Again, as a teacher, there is the resource page where they have more information. If I was unable to answer any of your questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen with you. All right, and let's see. Okay, so it looks like Carrie Ann has posted the survey link for credit. So go ahead and make sure you go and review that, and thank you for joining us. I'll leave the video open for a little bit for anybody who is looking for that link, but I will be ending the video shortly.